Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luis. This is Green Tea Gardening. Today, I'm building a composting sifter. I already have one, but it's a pain in the butt to like physically lift it up and shake it. So I'm trying to build like a track for it, I guess, so to speak. So I can leave it on top of the thing, and that way it helps guide it, and I don't have to actually lift it. We'll see how it works out. Alright, I think the neighbor's done. So I already had the square. This is just standard 2x4. This is hardware cloth. So I've already been using this, so I can pick this up, shake it. I basically just build a box, put some washers on it with some screws to hold on the mesh. I think I may have had staples. Yeah, I have staples on here as well. I think the washers came way after the fact. Anyway, so I went out and I bought some lumber to go ahead and make a frame, so to speak, of it. And so then this way, this whole thing goes on top of the cart. So no, I didn't measure. I just got really lucky. So I bought the 2x4 3-foot pieces. It might have been cheaper just to buy a full 8-foot one, but you know, I would have had too much waste, and it's just easier. And then I found a 2x4. I think it's at a pressure treated, but it was 4 feet. And so I looked up the measurements on the Gorilla cart, and it's 22 inches wide, so I figured 24 inches would be good because, you know, it has an inch overhang on either side. So after I had them cut it, I realized I didn't measure the frame I already had. Luckily, I've already got it, or it fits perfectly. I have a driver, and I found some 3-inch screws. That way it'll go into the 2x4, the regular stud, directly into the pressure treated, and that way it'll grip more of the pressure treated. That way it's a good connection. And I know that I have other screws, deck screws, but I don't know what size they are. I don't believe there's 3 inches, because when I bought those, I was making raised beds out of wood, and I think that one is max, I think 2x2 on the corner post. Anyway, so essentially all I'm gonna do is just screw it in here into the bottoms of all 4, and that's really it. I know I should probably drill pallet holes, but I don't know where all that stuff is, so I'm just gonna run the risk of splitting wood. But yes, you should always drill pallet holes. This does come with a star driver, a star drive coated screw, and it does come with a bit for it. That's what they're called, bits. So let me go ahead and try this out. So this is what I started with, and as you saw, just 4 pieces. So again, the one in the middle, the brown one, is, I believe, pressure treated. That's why it's brown. It was a 4-foot piece. I just had them cut it in half. As I measured the cart, this is a 4, what do they call it? The 4 cubic feet. So it's only 22 inches across, and it's 33 inches long. I did the math in the store, and it worked out. The long piece, I really didn't care if they were an overhang, because as you see, they're going to be on the edges, and I kind of wanted it a little bigger just to give it more of a sturdy base. If you didn't see what I took off, what I had on there before, these are just the wooden dogwood picket fence boards that I used to make my raised beds with. I had some lying around from when I took beds apart and whatnot and redid stuff, and I just happen to have, I think I just happen to have these extra from when I built the original beds at the last garden. And then these are the 2x2s I was using to make those beds. And so then this is basically turned into a table, so I can take this off, and now I can put my other piece on here for this. Oh, hold on. So then the idea is it's gonna be over in the composting area, which just because it's done, I might actually do that just to show you guys, because I hate those videos that you watch and you're like, great, we're doing this stuff, but I'm not gonna show you squat at the end. I don't want to be that jerk. Anyway, so the only thing I was worried about on the way over here after I had them cut is as to the size that the frame was already. And so I was worried that because I had measured it, and I was afraid that because this one might be too wide, if it was wider than the cart, I was afraid that it would be too wide and this whole mess. But your boy got really lucky, and I think this is from 2x4. I had it around at that last property. I don't remember what the hell I bought it for, but I had it, and then I had some of the mesh left over from when I did the mesh on the raised beds underneath. And so I think the only thing I bought was the screws. Maybe the screws. I know I definitely bought the washers, just because I did staple these on here. And I had the staple gun and the staples from, again, doing the same thing with the hardware cloth on the wood, on the beds. But I didn't have the washers because I wasn't attaching them this way on the beds. I think I just did with staples, and because the bed is just sitting on top, the bed wasn't going to move. It's not going to make a damn difference. The only thing I'm afraid of with this is that if I keep rubbing it, depending on how much I do it, I might damage some of the metal here, or I might damage some of the wood as I run it back and forth. My other thought process was, you guys let me know in the comments, I don't know if I'm going to have enough width here. I was thinking of putting, my brother-in-law is the one that came up with the idea. I showed him the compost sifter already, but I told him that I was thinking of getting, making like a trommel, one that you turn. You guys see my shadow there? One that you turn, and so then the stuff would fall out. And he asked me if I had any more of the metal. I said no, I may not, and if I do have some, I may not have enough. He goes, well, why not use what you have? You see, he's in construction and he knows about his stuff, about this stuff, and so he knows what kind of products out there. So he said he was going to try and figure it out. About a couple hours after he left, he sent me a link, and I'll put it down below. This is where he got the idea of a guy basically doing the same thing, going through the same process, like the exact same thing. I think his is a little smaller, the actual sifter. But then he's like, I got tired of picking it up and shaking it. You guys, I'll link his page below. Of shaking the whole thing. And so then he ended up making essentially just a frame, that way you can put it on top. And I'm gonna go get a 5-gallon bucket. I'm gonna throw it on here, and we'll show you how this works, because ain't no fun if we can't show what's going on. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, as you saw, that makes it a whole lot easier, because all the weight is on these things. Essentially, it's all right on here. And that's the other reason I just realized that I don't want to put the drawer hardware, because as you're going back and forth, as you saw, I actually had this side lifted up too high above this. So I'm going to keep it just like this, and I'm going to keep using it. So as you can see, this is just soil. This was a blueberry dyed. It's been out in the rain. It's been raining so much. Everything is actually pretty moist, pretty wet. As you saw, all the smaller stuff went through no problem. It's just really soil. I'm not sure what the chunks are. I think some of it is just roots, and I think some kind of pine needles. I'm not sure. So you see all this stuff is, all the big stuff is staying out the top. So let me just grab that, drop it in there, and then the smaller stuff, like you saw me, you can just pick it up with your hands. I'll probably be wearing gloves when I do this with compost. And if you can tell that if this stuff is going to fall apart, you can help break it up and see if you can get more to go through. And so what you end up with, with all the smaller pieces down there, it looks like some new needles to get through. How well you can see that. You end up with pretty nice stuff down here. I was already getting the nicer stuff because of that wire mesh, and what I was composting already, or you know what I was getting out of the compost. But now it's gonna be a lot easier on my back because I don't have to lift the whole damn thing. But yeah, definitely an upgrade. That might be what I call this video, upgrading my compost sifter. And the lumber and the screws were like 20 bucks. Granted, you still have to factor in this stuff. I think the most expensive is probably the wire mesh. The screws, I went with the 3-inch black screws, just because I wanted it to really get a hold on the one on the inside. And so let me show you here. It does come, it's a star bit that it needs, but it comes with one. Ooh, I just dropped it. And so you can see how much that it overhangs there. That's actually going into the lumber here. So that is freaking awesome. And if it breaks or whatever, then we'll just fix it, whatever needs to be fixed. The worst thing I'm thinking is replacing the mesh. And because I have to take out all the screws, the staples. But you know what, if I get a few years out of this, I've already been using this sifter for a while, I'm gonna be happy. So I'm just glad we have the light out here. So for now, that is it. I'm not gonna finish composting. I'm not gonna finish sifting that, although I really want to, because now it's kind of addicting. Because that was the one thing, it was just really too much of a pain in the butt, and like I didn't want to go sifting compost because again I was just using this thing, and that's why I wanted to do the rotating thing. Of course I'm gonna send him pictures, and I'm gonna send him stuff just to show him what's going on, and thank him for the idea. I already did, but I'm gonna call my brother or text my brother-in-law and show him that it's already done. He even offered, he said, I have a 2x4 at home if you know I don't have any plans for it, in case you want to use it for that, and then that way I really wouldn't be spending any money on it. But I honestly, I just got so caught up with stuff that I didn't even bother to text him back. But now I'm just gonna send him this. But yeah, it's all set. That is how I upgraded my composting, sifting abilities. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments below. I mean, you really don't have to have any plans. I know on the link below he's gonna have the measurement in one. I think he uses 1x2. His is a little different. He adds a smaller piece going across, I think, to help it glide. But I didn't do that because I want to keep it as simple as possible. So that's what I came up with, and it's much easier to move around. But I'll go ahead and link another video below if I remember, of the spinning trommel one. They call it a trommel, not a trommel horse, that's gymnastics, but and all the gymnasts are gonna come at me. It's specifically called this, and this, whatever. I know they use it in the Olympics. Alright, that's all I'm gonna say. Which season, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna put a couple videos, or you can just Google trommel sifter, trommel composter, and they even have somewhere I've seen where they hook up, because it spins, they hook up drills to it, and to where you put it, attach it, and then just hold the button and it spins it for you. That way you don't even have to do the spinning yourself. You just press the button. And really, if you put a zip tie, you put something on holding the trigger on the drill, all you're going to be doing is really just shoveling the compost directly into it from one side, and as it's spinning, and then it comes out the other side, all the giant chunks. So the difference with that one is I would take this, basically the catch-all, put it down here on this end, and as the stuff is coming through, it's just a giant tube. It comes through the tube this way, and it falls right out here, and all the good stuff falls in there. But this stuff I'm going to use, that way I can go ahead and definitely mix them. So I'm going to mix in that soil. This definitely needs more nutrients. I'm going to mix that. I'm going to mix the compost and whatever else I've got. And then that way I can pot up some seedlings. If you guys have been keeping up, those are peppers and tomatoes. The up-potting to the stage right now. The video is probably already up at this point, but I still do need to pot up some peppers and some other stuff to 4-inch pots, the bigger ones. Anyway, I'm gonna quit yakking. Go ahead and hit the bell notification, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel. I see we're up to 520 some odd subscribers. Thank you for everybody for coming over. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, like I said before, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. If you have any video ideas or something that you want to see from the garden or from the homestead or just in general, let me know. I do have a list of about a dozen ideas right now. This was definitely one of them. The other one is probably going to be potting up peppers, doing the compost thing, amending beds, fixing the waterings. Oh, that's what I didn't grab. No, you know what? I do have a Y splitter. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'll catch you guys later. I got to go eat. Peace.